name is Rebecca, and I have been cash budgeting for the latter part of 2 years. A little bit about me: I am a software tester. I'm a contractor, but I basically work full time. I've been in the tech industry for a better part of going on 8 years. And outside of my immediate role, I'm also an artist. I own my own business, Mouth Cat Studios. But much of my journey has been getting back on track. Just because you work in tech does not necessarily mean everyone makes six figures. So I'm on my own journey to financial freedom and getting my finances in order. I am 37 years old, and better late than never. But for right now, I'm about a week out until my next cash stuffing. However, for the first part of January, but I kind of wanted to go over my annual financial checklist for 2024 and what 2025 will look like, a little personalized. I think I might actually do a debt confession, if not this video, then another video. But I want to go over the things that I loved about this checklist, the ones that were a little bit too impersonal, and how the next year, 2025, which is in 5 days somehow, is going to be looking for me. I'm going to do pretty minimal editing on these videos, just because I'm kind of just getting started, and I really want to just show y'all, like, sort of bare bones what it looks like even for someone like me. Yeah, so the annual financial checklist, I believe I found this on the Budget Mom. I could be wrong. So many of my savings challenges, my checklists, I just straight up find from Pinterest, right? So much of it is free and accessible for everyone. So I'll go kind of months by months and then break down how I approached it. So yeah. Now, a lot of this checklist is super, super generic. So bear with me because, again, this is not something I created. It was something that I found as a starting point before I really could grasp what I needed, where I was going. So for January, set your financial goals and set your career goals. I think I have a handle on career goals, but for the sake of this video, setting your financial goals was really about me figuring out. For much of last year, I did not have a job. So I was just taking on as many contract positions as I could, taking on as many commissions as I could, and figuring it out. And maybe if I feel comfortable, I might actually go through 2024's budget planner. This camera is actually sitting on top of my budget planner. Funny enough, it's just right on my coffee table. So my financial goals truly were to survive. Like, if I'm being completely transparent, it was gas, groceries, rent. That was my main focus. And if I could squirrel away money for staycations or whatnot, that's precisely what I did. But I was in survival mode last year and this year. Oh my gosh, definitely this year. February was reviewing expenses and reviewing your credit report and credit score. I found out through the Experian site that it could give my credit a boost. My credit is not where I want it to be. I've taken a couple of hits just because student loans have just been on the back burner. Again, I was in survival mode for a year and 4 months. So 9 months out of this year alone, I was just trying to get through the next month and have rent to pay. I had help from my grandmother, which, like, by the grace of God, like, I was so grateful. I'm not super religious, but I had help. I cannot stress that enough. I had help for rent, but that really, really was about it. The rest was on me. Reviewing your expenses. I really tried to focus on what I was spending way too goddamn much money on. And admittedly, it really kind of came down to subscriptions. Man, those add up fast. Okay, heading into the spring months, And I think this is kind of where it takes a little bit of a turn of like relatability. Take on money saving challenges and reviewing your bank and investment fees. Now, what I noticed right away with taking on money saving challenges is that I would kind of essentially spend it right away. I would either throw it to debt or throw it to a treat. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm looking for longevity. And when you're in survival mode, it's so hard to think past the next day. Review your banking and investment fees. Now, this didn't apply to me. It didn't apply to me because like when you really have maybe $30 left over, you're just thinking about where could you put it where you can't touch it until possibly the next month or further down the line. April, reevaluate your goals and increase your savings rate. The second half of that, once again, was really tough for me because I was squirreling away what I could, but like every dollar matters, even if it's just $1. It's just so hard. It feels so deflating to know that like, okay, I just have $1 here to put away. Reevaluate your goals. I certainly did this because I realized like there were just some that would have to take a back seat to what I was doing. So we'll move on to May. Okay, May and June. This is where we do a mini pit stop. I say that because I'm going to tell you something that might sound like overkill, but again, what works for you might not work for me and vice versa. So May and June is kind of like that midway point for me in terms of finances. And so what I have done is in June, what I start to do is a mid-year review. I do a mid-week review, just a really baby one, a mid-month review, and a mid-year review. Because I just think of it as like me doing some sort of checking in where I am in terms of, I need to know exactly where my money is going. Now, I'm not going to account for any dollar. I'm not a zero-based budgeter quite yet, simply because surprise expenses happen. They still happen. I have a better hold on it than I ever have. However, that's just a little accountability here. So May is spending tax rebate wisely. I really believe that I have done really good about this, using a major chunk of it for debt. I have had such a problem in the past using all of it for debt. I'm going to be so honest, because one thing that I have noted specifically about my own spending habits is like this new habit that I've created over the past 2 years has to feel better than the previous habit I had of spending money. So if I can like squirrel away even just, $200 of it to go towards savings or something, just something fun, then for me, I know my nails are like a wreck, whatever. But for me, that creates longevity with what it is that I'm doing. I'm new to this, but I am true to this, and I'm learning. 10, adjust your tax withholding. That really, it doesn't really apply to me. So again, like there kind of in lies, you have to take what works for you out of this checklist and make it your own. And I'll show you what I did for 2025. 11, read a personal finance book. I did actually. There is a book by the lady who creates the Yo Quiero Dinero podcast. It's for first generation Latinas like myself. It was wonderful. It was great. It was just a little bit more beginner level than what I'm used to. So just take that with a grain of salt. There's also Get Good with Money by Tiffany Aliche, another incredible Black woman. Like full disclosure, also, all of this budgeting and finance stuff I learned from Black and brown women. Like it finally clicked, because yes, there are elements of like David Ramsey's principles, but I really don't subscribe to him. And that's another talk for another day. Foundation. We're talking foundation. Okay. 12, do a mid-year clear out. That's precisely what I did, is I looked without judgment realistically, like what am I spending my money on? And why am I doing that? And paying attention to, like the weeks leading up to my period, or like, why am I spending the way that I do as an emotional spender? Now, July is reevaluating goals. July and August are really a testament to those goal settings because for me, these are also busy months. These are camping months. These are months out with friends. These are nights out with friends. So for me, my spending for eating out might go up a little bit, but it's good to just pay attention to that. So reevaluating my goals, I wanted to be outside within reason. Being unemployed was really freaking hard, but camping, was like, $12 a night for a camping spot with friends. And so I tried to look for as many free things as I could. And if it wasn't free, low cost. Increase your savings rate. I definitely made sure to put more into my emergency fund. I was so proud of myself because I'll get to that later, but I was able to save a cushion. August, reviewing employee benefits. That didn't apply to me. Shop for your insurance. Again, didn't apply to me, but I did look around for, okay, hypothetically, where could I go find free health insurance or something that would at least cover me in the event of an emergency. Now, September and October is when it got real good this year. This is where I hit the ground running because I promised myself that when I got a job is when I would really start to run with it. So full disclosure, I got a job on the 4th of September. I was so proud. I got paid September 27th. And so that's when I could actually look at what I could save and how much debt I needed to pay off. So reevaluate your will and estate plan. Again, doesn't apply to me. Let's see, tackle another money challenge. I did start that. I was so proud. I did the $150 challenge. Let's see. I'm actually going to pull it out and show you guys because I saved it because what's going to be different this year is I'm going to have a completed challenges binder. So it looks like this. One of these. And what I found out about myself, my own habits, is that that probably wasn't a very long look, but for me, saving $5 is something I can do, like a little bit at a time. And I found that I was able to accumulate that particular savings challenge pretty quickly because I don't miss $5. And I believe me, it took me a long time to get to that point. So September came and went, and I promised myself that by October, I would have 1K saved, and I did, and I was so proud of myself. That was my first focus. Is my first challenge to myself was like, okay, pay the minimum with debt, and then get that emergency savings fund up first. So that's what I did. Baby steps, right? Okay, October, reevaluate your goals and increase your savings rate. That's specifically what I did. Once I had that emergency fund situated is when I started to really just tackle debt. And November, review your beneficiaries, plan your health expenses. I do have a health budget, but I also got at this point, I now have health insurance. It has a really high deductible, like a $3,000 deductible, but paired that with my emergency fund, it covers some of it. This is something I'm going to be increasing in the new year because, again, debt, after that emergency fund was funded, debt was the second thing that I tackled, and that's what I'm currently tackling. And by the end of November, my first debt, because of the snowball method, is gone. So, and now on to December, rebalancing your portfolio and giving. This part, this second part has been the hardest part, coming out of survival mode and throwing as much to debt as I could. I still tried to remember to give, so I did. I donated to Alimentado El Pueblo. It's one of the, it's the only actually food banks here in Washington State that gives, has pantry items specific for Latin American families' needs. It's for everyone, but like obviously it has pantry items for a Latino household, which is incredible. It means a lot to me. Please go support them. Okay, rebalance your portfolio. I was looking at I actually took the entirety of the month and thought about all the money that I had spent and what I want to spend more in the bucket. I'm sorry if my nails like bugging you. I'm not a nail girl, y'all. I have other focuses. So December was when I really looked at what am I spending? What are my realistic spending habits? Because so many of those no buy challenges just, they don't apply to me. I don't really have a problem not buying, like makeup products or, like that's not where my vices are. And I think that's okay. That just means we spend things differently. All right. So that said, we're going to talk about 2025. So two things. One, I have the power to Photoshop it. Like I said, I'm an artist. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be one of those cash budgeters that creates their own envelopes and such. I don't have a ton of time for that. But what I will say is that I use the powers of Photoshop for myself. And in a little while, I think I'll show some more items that I have in terms of like my master plan overall and breaking it down by quarters. So it's a lot of the same thing, but my annual financial checklist, I then curated specifically just for me. And if this gives you new ideas that you just haven't seen, please feel free to like copy it. This is not trademark, obviously. All right. So January, I'm going to start birthday and Christmas savings way earlier. One of the things that I noticed is that by the time about 2 months out, before I booked my tickets to Vegas, I noticed that like I just wanted it fully funded so I wouldn't have to freak out about it or worry about it. And my needs this year for Christmas and birthday savings, I think are significantly lower. So I factored that Christmas last year was just under 500, and I kind of want to keep it that way. I mean, a lot of my friends love to spend time. We spend it mostly in like time spent, and we'll go out to eat here and there, but truthfully, Christmas is a big deal, but in a different kind of way. Birthday savings, I haven't really planned to actually go anywhere for my 38th, but I know that there are some fancy schmancy things that I do want. So I have a specific number in mind, but I'm still waffling, I think, still waffling through like what I actually want for my birthday. So once it's solidified, I'm just going to like keep putting money away, and then I'll have obviously an intention with a number. Okay, February, review expenses, review credit score. All right, so spoiler alert, I do want to own a tiny home. And in order to do that, I actually do have to get my credit score up. If I'm going to be buying it on a loan, which I don't want to do, it's not ideal, but that's just the state of the tiny house market. And amongst so many other things, I still want a decent credit score. So I'm going to review my usage and bringing down, the debt that I have and that I owe. Reviewing expenses, of course, is seeing if the budget I made in January is going to actually flow into February, because one thing I've noticed is I try to be kind of cute about how much I actually spend on the miscellaneous things versus everything else. I think I'm realistic about groceries and gas and my cat, but I don't think I'm realistic about how much I actually need for household items, because that is the type of stuff that sneaks up on me. Sprays, sponges, like cleaning items, needing a new vacuum, that sort of thrilling stuff. March and April. This is where we get into the good stuff. All right, so Diana is my kitty cat. She's a little calico baby, and I'll insert a video of her here. Groovy. Okay, so March and April, the spring, is going to be when stuff gets real. Diana, I want to bring up her emergency fund to $1,500, because eventually I hope I'll be able to afford getting her teeth pulled if I need to, or any random x-rays, or just whatever comes up, because I noticed that in 2024, like this year, her vet budget almost hit $1,000. And I was almost never prepared for it. Now, I did have my emergency fund, but I don't want to dip into my emergency fund for stuff I could have a different emergency fund for. I want to get my emergency fund actually back up to 1,000. I only had to use about 400. It was at 1,000. Now it's down to 596. I want to get that back up to 1,500. In April, I want to have at least 5K saved for a down payment for a tiny home. Now, I know realistically it's going to be a little bit more expensive for that, but I really want to get that into my high yield savings account. I have one with Ally, and it's fantastic. It's great. Keep using it. And then I am saving up for a car, a used car, a good car. I love my little Subaru, but she old. She's getting up there. And I've seen it in a cash budgeter mention this too, that they will ride it till the wheels fall off, and that's precisely my methodology. May and June, that's once again, we're talking about that mid-year check-in. June is also my birthday, so we'll get into that. Okay, so I want to use my tax refund for the tiny house. Knowing me and how irritatingly responsible I can be, I know I'm probably going to use that for debt if I have any debt left over. But truthfully, I want to be consumer debt free by March. So after March is really when I'm going to be honing in on saving up for my tiny house. So starting ATW and Cabana budget. These are actually 2 vacations I want to take next year. Well, actually, the Cabana one is in 2026, but my All Too Well trip, maybe I'll get into that later, but it's going to be a trip in the fall, and I want it to be on the East Coast. And that's all I'll say for now. Excuse me. June, it's my birthday month. I want an iPad. I want one so bad. I not obviously just for cash budgeting, but I'm an artist. And so being able to use a tool like an iPad to be able to do my commissions and do a quick sketch would be delightful. Full disclosure, I do have kind of a Cintiq. It's basically like a drawing pad. I already have one for here at the house. It is a little bit more clunky. It's less portable. And having an iPad for sort of on the go or out would be great. And I want one. I don't need to justify it. I want one. Mid-year review of savings. I want to make sure that once my consumer debt is paid off, that I'm slowly paying my student loans, but I really want to hone in on the savings. And then finishing a quarterly savings. I have a new rule this year. And that rule is that I will have several different type of savings challenges this year. One is the dollars, saving all of my dollars. 2 is saving all my coins. Truthfully, I just cash it when it's full, but I'm gonna save all my coins throughout the year constantly. Once the coin jar is full, then I go to my bank. It has its own like low percentage cost deposit thing and deposit it there. 3 is that all of the saving, I will be doing quarterly savings challenges and then year-long savings challenges. So the quarterly one, I pick 1 savings challenges for the quarter and then I deposit it. And then the very last one is having a finished savings challenge folder, where I will do savings challenges in addition to the quarterly ones, but the ones that I save for the year are the ones I do not touch until the end of the year. That one is gonna be so tough, you guys. All right. So that said, kind of from spring on is going to be just a major focus on savings. Okay, so by July, I want my All Too Well trip fully funded because I want to go in September. Yes, I am a Swiftie. July is really going to be beginning consistently paying down student loans. I don't want to pay down my student loans immediately because my credit will take a hit. So I want to bring my credit nice and up. And then once I solidify my house purchase, then I'll be able to like just pay it off in its entirety. I plan on paying it off next year by December. But it could affect my credit score, hence why I don't want to pay it off immediately right away. Okay. August is purchasing the tickets for the trip to Toronto. And then I want to increase my Christmas savings because August, I think, is when I tend to get a little lax. And what I notice is I want to basically have my Christmas money before December. It's a big wish, but there we are. Okay. September and October was my favorite months. I kind of wish we were still in the fall, but you know, winter has been wintering. Okay, let's start my Thanksgiving savings. Thanksgiving this year was only $80. Like, I got everything I wanted. I mean, including desserts. And I like to cook what I want. And, you know, I kind of limit myself on the Friendsgiving thing. So, yeah, All Too Well is fully funded and booked. I'm going on vacation this year. Like, it's not going to be for very long or very far, but I gotta get out. October is increasing my credit score. Ignore the typo. Don't look at it. And then beginning 3 to 6 months savings, because at this point, all of my savings at this juncture are, you know, donezo, with the exception, of course, of December, and then my consumer debt is gone. So I want to be all right, especially after a layoff that I experienced, you know, a year and 4 months ago. I would rather be prepared. Okay, November and December, we're rounding it out with aggressively paying down student loans. This is what I mentioned, that student loan pay down is going to get real. Investing $1,000 in index funds. This is when I think I'll be able to actually feel safe enough to save up. I already have a 401k through Fidelity. I don't have one currently through my job because they don't do any type of price match. So it's like, what's the point? I might as well just do it on my own. I've been trading for a little bit and not as seriously as I could be. So I'm going to throw $1,000 in trading stocks and then focus my efforts elsewhere. And then December, I'm going to be doing a yearly review and then a big give. I want to do 100 towards charity. In the past, I've done like, you know, 10 separate charities get like this much, or 5 separate charities get, you know, I've split it up so that way multiple charities could get a some dollar amount, but I might just do 100 towards one specific nonprofit. I haven't decided because having volunteered for so many nonprofits, sometimes it can be kind of difficult to choose. But that is my annual financial checklist. That is what is going to work for me and making it personal. You know, it's not quite a cash stuffing, but it is at least going through what the plan is, and the plan even broken down. I've even done it this way prior to creating like a whole sheet, but just really getting things solidified. I write it out multiple times simply because, you know, I really just don't want to forget. So that's my video, y'all. It's basically having some plan, and truthfully, things might not go according to plan, and that's life. But I think having some foundation for the year sets me up so that, you know, once I get to mid-year, I'm like, it's really easy to sort of lose steam because sometimes paying off debt is so incremental, but the snowball method has helped so much. So yeah, once again, my name's Becca, and I'm on my own journey for financial freedom. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you have a wonderful new year and happy holidays. Bye, everyone.